Good to go.
Okay, thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everybody. Welcome. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Today is August 1, 2023. We appreciate everybody being here today. A couple of housekeeping items. If you have any type of an electronic communication, silent or vibrate, we'd appreciate that. And we'll note for the record that Commissioner Spillvogel, as we speak, is in Pittsburgh attending a meeting. It's a regional meeting involving the issue of the housing of juvenile offenders. I believe the Commonwealth Office of Children,
Youth and
Families has called this meeting. She is attending on behalf of the board, so that explains her absence, and we appreciate that she's taking the time to do that. We always, but we do have a quorum. It takes two of us to establish a quorum so we can conduct our business. We always begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'd ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence. Keep our President Judge Dominic Motto and his family in your thoughts and prayers. His sister passed away over the weekend, so please keep Judge Motto in your. This is the pledge, please.
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you, everybody. Vanessa, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Meredith?
Present.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we do have our quorum. We always have two opportunities for public comment, one in just a few moments and then one before we adjourn the meeting. You're welcome to speak both times. You're welcome to speak one of the two times if you wish, or if you're just here to observe and care not to speak, that's okay. We ask that your comments be related to county government matters, and that if you're able to, please try to maybe keep your remarks to about 5 minutes or so out of respect for people's work schedules. But we certainly welcome any comments that you might have. Next on the agenda, and I believe everybody did get a copy of the agenda. Thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
The row officer reports and comments. We do give time to any row officers that might need to meet with us, anything publicly, but today none of our row officers are with us. We've always stressed that's optional. They're not required to be here, but we always welcome them. So, under public comment, I'm pleased to see a gentleman from Little Beaver Township, Ian Baker. Mr. Baker, I suspect you would like to talk now, but if you want to wait till the end of the meeting, that's fine. Either way, Ian.
Whatever you just want to do.
But Ian has put together a flag that he's going to talk about. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Ian. If you don't mind coming up, I hope that mic's on. It is? Thank you, Vanessa. So you're welcome to either sit or stand, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. And I'll turn it over to you.
All right, well, thank you so much. Sure. So my name is Ian Baker, as he said, and I'm here today to talk to you about flags. Flags represent all kinds of different communities. They originated on the battlefield, and so over the years, people have developed an emotional tie to flags. A good flag takes advantage of that by generating civic pride to motivate people to advocate for their communities. Now, what makes a good flag? We'll tell you it's how it looks that matters, that you have to use a certain number of colors, or you can't have lettering on it, but the aesthetic of the flag doesn't really matter. You can have the best looking flag in the world, but if nobody flies, it's not a good flag. No, what makes a good flag is that the symbolism means something to the people it represents. Now, our current flag symbolizes that we have farms and that we have water. And if you did a double take when I said our county has a flag, that highlights this very problem, that this is meaningful enough and it It wasn't embraced by the people, and eventually it was forgotten over time. Besides, every county around here seems to have farms and water, I think. But what makes Lawrence County special? I think Lawrence County, in fact, I know Lawrence County was one of the few counties that people had to fight for its existence. Now, it took the people 7 or 8 tries before Harrisburg passed legislation that formed Lawrence County on March 20th, 1849. Now, this legacy of determination is what makes our county special. It's what defined us in our history and still defines us today. And I wanted to design a flag that shows Lawrence County's history, people, and vision that the people would take ownership of and want to fly. And this is it. I call it the Fireworks and Stripes. And eventually it will be voted on as next year's 175th anniversary flag for the county. The colors are the same shades of red, white, and blue as the American flag. The 4 stripes represent the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, with each stripe standing for a word in our state motto: virtue, liberty, and independence. The "and" stripe that exists within liberty and independence. The canton is shaped like our county to represent all of Lawrence County and its people. It's red to symbolize determination and sacrifice, and it's cut into the stripes to represent how our county was cut into Pennsylvania. It's also placed in the upper hoist to represent the importance of our county and its founding. The most important symbol, the chevron on the canton, points to the virtue stripe to emphasize virtue's importance as the starting point to acquiring and maintaining our liberty and independence. Of course, there's fireworks. They represent our county's place in the fireworks industry, as well as the fighting spirit of our people. Now, every city, borough, and township is represented by a star in the fireworks. I know there's less here, but this is a prototype. Rest assured, in the final design, there are 27 stars. The ship is our county's namesake, the USS Lawrence, and each sail on the ship represents a fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness. And the 2 flags on the mast stand for self-control, with the lower being self to emphasize humility. The waves under the sails show the forward momentum when adhering to the fruits of the spirit, and each wave represents one of our 3 rivers: the Beaver, the Mahoning, and the Shenango. Under the ship is Commodore Perry's battle cry, "Don't give up the ship." The founders of our county were inspired by the brave tale of the USS Lawrence's determination in the Battle of Lake Erie, and they rallied around this motto when pushing for its establishment. Now, with next year being Lawrence County's 175th anniversary, it provides us with a unique opportunity to learn from and gain a new appreciation for the history of our county's founding and who we are as a people. And the best way to communicate that, I believe, is with a new county flag. I firmly believe that we need a flag that shows this legacy of determination to the world, not only so the world knows that that's the kind of people we are, but so we know that's the kind of people we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we, a people of Lawrence County, never give up. I made this flag to show people that Lawrence County is still worth fighting for. I don't want people to feel disheartened about where they live. I want people to call Lawrence County home. I want to inspire people to be the positive change that communities desperately need. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Baker, we thank you. We actually talked a little bit about this last week at our commissioners meeting, and noted that, as you referenced, about 40 years ago, and it was spearheaded by the late Commissioner Paul Tanner, a committee was formed to review proposals for a Lawrence County flag. Formally adopted, sitting right behind Commissioner Burek, as the official county flag. And Mr. Baker noting that, as he said this morning, next year does mark the 175th anniversary of the creation of Lawrence County. About a month ago, we pulled a committee together consisting of the 3 commissioners, President Judge Motto, Janet Filatico, the Tourist Promotion Agency, as well as her aide, or second in command, I should say. We had Andrew Henley from the Lawrence County Historical Society. Oh, Jenny Jacob from the Tourist Promotion Agency. Andrew Henley from the Lawrence County Historical Society. Bob Morales, City Area Historical Society. And Judy Foster also lives in Little Beaver Township, representing the Enon Valley Area Historical Society, to talk about plans for how to commemorate and celebrate next year's 175th anniversary. We noted last week that Commissioner Burek stepped up to the plate and agreed to chair the committee, which we're very appreciative of. But at that meeting, Ian brought the flag, and he's been taking it to a number of different community events. I know you were in Enon Valley for their community day, and as you noted, I think eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, we as a board can take action to adopt it as the official flag of the county's 175th anniversary. But you've put, as I've said to other folks, you've put a lot of time, thought, and effort into this, and I admire your creativity. That's one virtue I don't have much of. I'm not a very creative person. You obviously are. And again, I appreciate what you've done. I like the fact that you're going to incorporate more stars to make note of the many municipalities, the 27, in fact, that we have. So we greatly appreciate you're going to all this trouble and the time you've put into it. So I'll see if Commissioner Burek has any remarks.
Just, I want to thank Ian. I personally love this flag and the thought and creativity and meaning behind it. He's graciously provided us with some handouts, and I'll keep them here and I'll keep them in file in the Commissioner's office. We'll make more colored copies, but it shows the prototype of the flag and fireworks and stripes and the explanation of background. So thank you again for all you've done, the work you've done up to this point, and look forward to continuing to work with you as we plan next year's 175th anniversary celebration here in Lawrence County.
I'll take one. I'm going to
Yes.
put it in Debbie Walker's packet. Debbie's going to take this packet.
These will be available here at the commissioner meetings, and we'll also keep them available in the commissioner's office as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ian, anything else you'd wish to share with us?
No, that's it today.
I forgot to mention Ian's interest in community and public service. He is a candidate nominee for a position on the Mohawk Area School Board, technically unopposed. I think there are 5 positions and 5 people running, to the best
Yes,
of my knowledge.
there's some write-in campaigns that are going in because since I'm new, it's least known, and so I'm the one that's in the way if the write-in campaign is successful. So
Understood, but you are the nominee, you're one of the
yes,
5 nominees.
I am on the ballot. Right. Yeah,
We're
I'll
successful.
be on both ballots in November, and I look forward to being the voice for the people in Mohawk School Board.
Anything else, Brian? Thank you again. You're very welcome to stay, but if you do have to move along, we understand. So but please, if you'd like to stay for the balance of our meeting, we're glad to have you.
It may be a long meeting, but you're welcome to stay.
They're never the most exciting meetings. They're kind of dry.
But it'll give me practice for when I go on school board.
There you go. Ian, thank you again, very kindly.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Other public comments this morning?
Commissioner, I would just like to say, and I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That gentleman is John Bout. He is the Director of our Children and Youth Services Department.
Thank you, John.
Just to make sure.
Thank you, John. Moving along, for fiscal and contractual. We had a situation arise, you may recall, I believe, was that last week that we took action on the settlement? Thank you. You may recall last week we took formal action on a legal settlement agreement with a former employee at the Department of Public Safety. The solicitor noted that the dollar amount that was listed in that settlement needed to be revised. And this necessitates us considering a resolution that would allow for a transfer to accommodate that adjusted dollar figure. The situation we find ourselves in is that, as we'll note later in the meeting as well, but and we noted last week, the commissioners do not meet next Tuesday. We will be attending our Commonwealth or our County Commissioners Association annual conference in Erie County. And because we're not meeting for until 2 weeks from today, the action that is necessary place today so that it falls into compliance with this came about shortly after our deadline for posting the agenda, which was 10 o'clock yesterday morning based upon the sunshine law. The solicitor is advising us that we need to enter all these facts into the record and then amend the agenda to allow us to consider this proposed resolution in light of the fact that the deadline occurs prior to our next regular public meeting. If we were meeting next week, this wouldn't be an issue. We could simply vote on it next week. I hope I've made that clear to your knowledge.
Yeah, per recommendation from the county controller and the advice from the county solicitor, to satisfy the terms of the settlement agreement, we need to pay this individual the agreed upon amount before August 11th. And since this is our last public meeting before that date, Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the agenda to add resolution R 2023-272. That states authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials of Lawrence County, total of $3,509.88. Described in detail on the attachment designated as T 2023-27. As you mentioned, the Commissioner's contingency to the legal settlement fund.
Second, your motion to amend. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you both. And then I could entertain a motion then for us to consider proposed resolution 272.
So moved.
I will second. Further comments or discussion? Thank you. I appreciate that. Joe, anything?
No.
Okay, I believe hopefully we've described that accurately and appropriately, and appreciate your input on it. So we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda would be a repository property that is brought before us. What number would this be, Vanessa?
247.
247, thank you. For those of you who attend our meetings regularly, you'll know that there is a process that when a parcel, a property has gone through both delinquent sales and has not been purchased, then it does go to the repository that the tax claim office people have the opportunity to come in and place bids on those properties. If all three taxing bodies agree to the bid, then the property can be sold. The process is such that when a bid is made, it goes first to the local borough, township, or city, then it goes to the school district, and then it comes to us last. This proposed resolution is for a parcel in Mahoning Township located at 114 Sparrow Lane, ID number 4-902114. A $500 bid has been placed on this property by Castle Management Group, LLC. On, it looks as though on May 9 of this year, the Mahoning Township Supervisors voted to accept this proposed bid. We don't have any documentation from the school board. They are given a 30-day window in which to act. If that, whether they act or not after the 30 days, then it comes to us. And this would be our opportunity to vote as to whether or not to accept this bid. Entertain a motion for us to consider proposed resolution 247.
So moved.
I will second, and I'll see if you have any comments.
My only comment is the Mohawk School Board was apprised of this and took no action either way. So If they don't respond, we assume that they approve the sale. So the Mahoning Township Supervisors did approve it. Mohawk School District did not respond. And so now it's up to the county to approve the sale of the property. I believe anytime we can return property that's in the repository back to it's going to maintain and pay the property taxes on it, it's benefit to the county. I'm sure when you're on the Mohawk School Board, that's the come.
Oh, for sure.
And I appreciate that. And I'll also note that in order for this process to ultimately allow for the bid to be accepted, all three taxing bodies must agree affirmatively. If one perhaps votes no, then the bid cannot be accepted. It does necessitate all three bodies, or at least a majority thereof, to agree to the proposed bid. So we have a motion and a second. If there are no other comments, I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next are the warrant registers dated July 28 and July 21. The warrant registers are a printout listing of all of the bills that have been paid and checks that have been cut by the controller's office. Incidentally, the documents to which we will be referring today, they are available if anybody wishes to see them. I always, at the end of the meeting, give my packet to Debbie from the Newcastle News. But again, everything we're talking about today is here if anybody wishes to look at it. So I'll give you some time, Commissioner Burek, to look over the warrant register and would welcome any concerns.
I will move to accept and file the warrant registers dated July 21 and July 28, 2023.
I've reviewed them as well, and I will second your motion and see if you have any concerns.
No.
Thank you. Neither do I. I'll then ask for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you, Vanessa. Next on the agenda are the minutes of the July 25 Commissioners meeting, which was held a week ago. Again, Brian, whatever time you might need, we'll look them over and then I could entertain a motion at your convenience.
I will move that the minutes be approved as submitted.
I'll offer the second. Any concerns, Brian? Okay, thank you. Ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. During the course of the work week, we periodically receive written communications that require us to enter into the record. Oftentimes, these documents are advisory in nature, but the Commonwealth requires that we be made aware of the matters at hand, which I'll be discussing shortly. More often than not, we are not under any legal obligation to take action in terms of any authority that we might have. We simply make note of them and enter them into the record. But within the last week, we've received three documents, and I'll talk about them right now. The first is from Frank B. Taylor Engineering, which is based here in Lawrence County. This is notification of the fact that Neshannock Township intends to submit an application to the Department of Environmental Protection to obtain a general BWEW-GP-11, which is a maintenance, testing, repair, rehabilitation, or maintenance of water obstructions and encroachments for the following project. This is for a culvert replacement on Plank Road in Neshannock Township. Clear, so there's no confusion. This section of Plank Road is a township road. Some of you might realize that Old Plank Road in Neshannock Township is a state-maintained road. But the Plank Road, which would be north of Shenango Road, but south of Mitchell Road, this is a township road. So they did a culvert replacement. We're receiving notification of that fact. The second two documents come from Fike Associates, Inc., on behalf of the Allegheny Mineral Corporation, which is based in Katanning out in Armstrong County, noting that they propose to conduct overburden and production blasting in compliance with all state and federal laws as written within the Non-Coal Surface Mining Conservation Reclamation Act at the company's surface mining operations, both of which are located in Slippery Rock Township. One is known as the Withers Mine, and the other is known as the Myers Mine. And it then spells out specifications for the blasting process. We'll enter both of these into the record. In fact, may I have a motion to do so?
Move to accept and file the correspondence.
I thank you, and I'll second, and I'll see if you have any concerns about any of them.
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you, Vanessa. Under reports, we always set aside time for commissioner reports and comments. Let's see, I guess I get to go first today. Just some items of upcoming interest as it relates to the county. I'll note that tomorrow, August 2 at 12 noon is the regular monthly meeting of the Lawrence County Conservation District. It is a public meeting. It takes place at Grill on the Hill Restaurant on State Route 18 in Neshannock Township. State law requires that one commissioner sit on that board. I'm currently the commissioner who has the opportunity to do that, which I greatly appreciate. So that meeting takes place tomorrow. Then on Friday, August 4, in the city of Franklin in Venango County, the Northwest Regional Planning Commission, of which Lawrence County is a member, will hold its quarterly public meeting, and that is also open to the public. That begins at 10 a.m. Lawrence County has two representatives, a public representative, which happens to be myself. In fact, I have the privilege right now of chairing that board. And our private sector member is a gentleman from Wilmington Township, Mr. Tom McKinley. So that meeting will be taking place on Friday. And then finally, next week, actually starting this weekend, as I noted, the three of us will be in Erie County attending the annual conference of the County Commissioners Association. Commissioner Spillvogel and I both serve on the board of the association, so we actually, our first meeting starts 8 a.m. Sunday morning. Our board of directors meets for about 4 hours, starting at Sunday at 8 a.m. And then I think sometime during the day, you're coming up for committee meetings, early afternoon, if I recall.
1 o'clock, yes.
And then the conference runs until noon on Wednesday, which is why we won't be having a meeting on Tuesday. And then fortunately, the three of us do try to attend our county planning commission meetings that are held monthly. And this month, on August 9, the planning commission will be meeting at noon at the Wampum train station in Wampum Borough. But we won't be getting back in time, unfortunately. So we'll have to miss the planning commission meeting. So it's a busy week coming up. Those are my comments. Commissioner Burek.
Thank you, Commissioner Vogler. Just for Vanessa's sake, I have this, my comments I'm gonna read right now. I'll give you a copy either in paper or electronically. You can just import them right into the minutes to save you some time. So just want to comment on, it's been a busy week again, but two things I'd like to mention. Last Friday, I welcomed a group of folks from the National Amusement Park Historical Association to Lawrence County. They were part of the Park Hop 23 tour, and the leader of the tour was a gentleman named Michael Costello, who grew up in the Elwood City area and now lives in Orlando, Florida. There were guests from all over Pennsylvania and some from states such as Florida, Indiana, and even a couple from California I met and talked to. We toured the grounds of two former amusement parks here in Lawrence County. The first one, Rock Point Park Amusement Park, was in operation from 1885 until 1914, when a large fire burned most of the park's wooden structures. It was located near Elwood City in the area where the Connoquenessing Creek, the Beaver River, one of our 3 rivers. It is now a beautiful natural recreational area owned by the Wild Waterways Conservancy, and there's still a few remnants of the former park. I actually have pictures if anyone wants to see. There was a really famous ride called Shoot the Chutes, and they built it on the hillside, and it went down, and they built a retaining pond, and you splash down, sort of like the Pittsburgh Plunge at Kennywood Park. But this was in 1885 when this ride opened. Amazing, and you can still see the basin where the water collected at the bottom. Former Wayne Township Supervisor, which Dan knows well, Everett Blakeney, was there that day. He's the 2nd Vice President of the Elwood City Historical Society. He was on hand. He provided more background history to the group. He's very knowledgeable of history, especially in the Wayne Township and Elwood City area. After the group left Elwood City, we went up to Cascade Park, and which is still, of course, a beautiful public park owned by the city of Newcastle. But the amusement park rides operated by the late Paul Vesco closed in 1984. I have many great memories of riding the rides there, such as the roller coaster, the tumblebug, they had giant jets on cables, train ride, the miniature train ride, and other rides at the park. Even though the rides are all gone, you can still see some of the roller coaster structure where it crossed Big Run Creek. The Lawrence County Historical Society has a book available for purchase and a lot of great pictures of Cascade Park over the years. And again, if anybody's interested, here's a diagram of the layout of the park, and there's many amazing photos back to the turn of the century. Let's see if the year is on any of these photos. There was the miniature train ride. I don't know if anybody here is old enough to have ridden that train, but there was a little tunnel that went through the park, and it was, as a little kid, it's scary when you go in the tunnel. It's pitch black for about 30 seconds, and you come out and see the light at the other end. But if anybody's interested in history, I have these photos to share. Many people still use Cascade Park, of course, for special events, especially the old carousel building and the dance hall, which can be rented. And there's still one concession stand still in operation, Nina's Italian Ice. It's very popular. They have great Italian ice if you want a cool treat in the summer. And that's located below the dance hall near the main entrance to the park. And more recently, they added a dog park at the north end of Cascade Park where many people take their furry friends to play and frolic. Whenever I drive by, I often see dogs enjoying the dog park. And I just want to remind our citizens here in Lawrence County that they can and should visit Cascade to enjoy the beautiful natural setting and the 2 cascading waterfalls. There's an small upper falls on Big Run Creek right under the bridge, and then down below there's the lower falls, which I shouldn't admit this, but when I was a teenager, I saw many people, even though there's signs you're not allowed to trespass there. When I was a teenager, I know many youngsters that would climb down the hillside there and jump off the rocks into the pond beneath the larger waterfall Cascade Park. Looking back, it was probably a little bit dangerous, but on a hot summer day, it was a lot of fun. Then on Saturday of this past weekend, I was very happy to join with Commissioner Spielvogel at the opening of the Dawn Freedom Fair and Fireworks Festival in downtown Newcastle and the ribbon cutting of the Riverwalk Park Bike Trail. I know Commissioner Vogler would have been there, but he was out of town visiting his son and grandchildren, and glad you got to see your grandchildren. But after the ribbon cutting of the bike trail, I rode my bicycle along with 6 others, and we were led by 2 Newcastle Police Department officers on bike. We rode from downtown to East Washington Street Bridge over the North Street Bridge out to the Paper Mill Bridge, and then back through the trail, ending up on East Washington Street. I encourage all Lawrence County residents and visitors to come to downtown Newcastle and walk or bike the Riverwalk Trail to enjoy the beautiful scenery as it travels along the Neshannock Creek. When you're on that trail, you wouldn't even know you're in the city of Newcastle. It's just beautiful woods. The creek is beautiful. Commissioner Vogler's noted this. The Neshannock Creek from downtown Newcastle all the way out to Valant has been rated over the years by many groups as one of the top trout fishing spots in the whole United States. And it's just a beautiful area. That's my first time on the paved section of the trail from the base of Croton Avenue out to Paper Mill Bridge. when I was younger, I used to jog that trail quite a bit, but it was back when it was just a trail through the woods. This is the first time I've been on it since it was actually paved, and it's now very good for bicycles as well. So just final comment, I want to thank and congratulate all of the staff of Dawn Services and the volunteers who made the Freedom Fair and Fireworks Festival of 2023 such a great day for our community. There were many church-sponsored booths with giveaways and activities, free activities for children. There were food vendors. There was multiple social service and disability services organizations and companies. All in all, it was a great day. I know many people got downtown and enjoyed it. And the day was capped off with an excellent fireworks display. I've seen a lot of fireworks in my day, but it was actually, I don't know if anybody else saw it Saturday night in downtown Newcastle, but it was one of the probably 5 best fireworks displays I've ever seen. It was outstanding. The company that put off the fireworks had a great display and very excellent fireworks show. So just wanted to comment again, great events in Lawrence County, the great beauty of Lawrence County from the southern end, Connoquenessing and Beaver Creek and Beaver River, all the way up to Big Run Creek, Neshannock Creek. We really are blessed with beautiful natural areas and waterways here in Lawrence County. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to share those comments.
I'm greatly appreciative that you've done so. I wished I could have joined you both times. Rock Point Park is kind of a hidden gem. As Brian noted, it's located down in Wayne Township. And it is open. If the public is permitted to walk through it. And as you noted, there's very little evidence of the fact that there had been an amusement park there, but the scenic beauty is certainly there. The only way you can really access it is on State Route 288, which is between Wampum and Elwood City. And right at the real sharp curve, there is a sign that says Rock Point Boat Club. And you can pull in a small dirt road or gravel road, cross a set of railroad tracks, and drive all the way down. And then feel free to walk around. And again, it's open to the public. Now, in the wintertime, they do gate it up toward the highway, but you are still permitted to park your car there and walk through the property. The other interesting thing, and I doubt you folks have time because it's probably a good 20-minute walk, but if you go upstream along the Connoquenessing, at one time there was an iron pedestrian bridge that crossed over the Connoquenessing. Right now, the stone foundations are still there. The bridge actually collapsed within the last 20, 25 years. But the bridge took you over to what's known as the area known in Wayne Township as Park Gate, and which is along State Route 351. Because railroad trains used to come up through Park Gate. People would come off the train, walk down the hill. They have stone steps that are still along the hillside. When there's little vegetation, you can see these stone steps that bring you all the way down. They would come down the steps, walk across this iron bridge, and then they would have access to Rock Point Park. But having Everett Blakeney there, I'm sure he's a wealth of knowledge. And I saw that Andrew Henley was there also.
Yes, he was.
So, but thank you very much for taking the time to do that. I appreciate your comments this morning. And Debbie, we're always glad you're here. I will have your packet, and I'm in your packet. The gentleman sitting in the front row here is Ian Baker. Mr. Baker is from Little Beaver Township, and he has designed a flag commemorating the upcoming 175th anniversary of the creation of Lawrence County. He has it with him. So hopefully if the two of you have time.
I actually have to duck out for a hearing at 11 across the street. So
Okay. We probably will still be going on, but perhaps
can I steal him for a minute now?
If we have a handout here.
if he's so willing,
Give Debbie one of your
yeah,
handouts.
if you want to talk to Debbie now, it's certainly appropriate.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's step outside. That's fine. Okay, thank you both.
Mr. Chairman, you done with your comments?
I am,
May I make one quick follow-up comment?
absolutely.
I'm glad you mentioned Park Gate, and you would remember this name. When I was commissioner from 96 to 04, we had an older gentleman from the Elwood City area named Henry Basig. And he would come regularly attend the commissioner meetings, and he would always ask for support because he mowed the grass in an area of Elwood City called Park Gate. And I never knew the history of that until this past Saturday. And Ever explained what you just explained. The railroad that ran through Elwood City had a stop at Park Gate, and from there were steps down over the Connoquenessing Creek and a bridge where people would access Rock Point Park. So that it all comes together now that I understand the little more of the history of the Elwood City area. So thank you for mentioning that. Mr. Vasigi was a fine gentleman. He was one of, when I was young, I used to donate blood regularly to the Red Cross and Central Blood Bank. And I was so proud when I got my 2-gallon pin or something. Mr. Vasigi, I forget how many, but he had donated over 100 gallons of blood in his lifetime. And he was one of those folks that you're allowed every 56 days to donate blood. And for many, 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 many years, he was the most regular blood donor in Lawrence County. But and he also mowed the property down to try to keep Elwood nice. Very civic-minded gentleman, always thinking of others. And that's whenever I hear Park Gate, I always think of Henry
Henry
Vasigi.
Vasigi, he for a while was a reporter for the Elwood Ledger. He did news reporting for that. His daughter still lives in Park Gate. And a number of years ago, you can park near actually where Henry lived. And there's a pathway leading to those stone steps that take you down to the Connoquenessing, which I was able to master barely. But I walked down those steps, took me down to now again, the bridge was gone, so I couldn't go across. But yeah, next time you're down that way, check those steps out.
Ever blatantly mentioned that the only thing this time of year it was he said you got to go early spring before the trees fill in because of the vegetation. Trees are so overgrown you can't see the steps anymore.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you again. We will move on to new business, and we are at a point in time where recently we've worked with our planning office and our county engineer, specifically Bill Humphrey, and our controller's office. As we've noted many times, the county receives liquid fuel dollars from the Commonwealth. And obviously our first priority with those liquid fuel dollars are the 27 bridges that we own and are responsible for. And each year we sit with Mr. Humphrey and he tells us what needs to be done on our bridges in terms of ongoing maintenance or repair or inspection, and all of those actually. And then our next question to Mr. Humphrey is, okay, are there dollars left over that we can then distribute to municipalities? And this year the answer, as it usually is, was yes. So this is being done in 2 steps. Actually, excuse me, 3 steps. The planning office earlier in the year sent out written correspondence followed up with an email to all 27 municipalities indicating that if they wished to apply for a liquid fuel allocation, they could do so. The deadline for that was June 30, if I recall correctly. And we did receive a number of requests, and we've sat down and gone through them. From the liquid fuel account, we will be allocating a total of $620,000. And I'm going to enter into the record those municipalities that applied and the purpose and the dollar amount. So please bear with me. Perry Township has requested and will receive a $30,000 allocation to allow them, this will assist them in the purchase of a. Elwood City will receive $50. That was our cap in terms of the maximum dollar able to distribute. The borough intends to use these dollars for paving a number of streets within the borough limits. Borough of New Wilmington likewise has paving plans. Let me go back to Elwood for just a second. Elwood City Borough, 7th Street, Woodland, Park, Bell, Avenue. Those are the streets in the borough of Elwood City. In the borough of New Wilmington, $50,000 allocation for the paving of Watt Avenue and Lincoln Street. In Wayne Township, the municipalities were permitted to make up to 2 requests, and Wayne Township did so. Lane Township will receive $40,000 for the paving of Northwestern Drive and $50,000 for the paving of Lundy's Lane. Plain Grove Township will receive $50,000 earmarked for the paving of Mason Road, McNulty Road, Black Road, Ray Road. Union Township, there's no specific streets listed, but they will receive $50,000 towards paving. New Beaver Borough, $50,000 for the paving of Glenkirk Road. North Beaver Township, $50,000 for the Wellington Township will utilize their $50, both for a replacement. It says bridge replacement. That might, yeah, that's right. Bridge replacement on Phillips School Road and paving of, oh no, excuse me. I misread it. Wilmington's is strictly for the bridge replacement on Phillips School Road, $50,000. Neshannock Township, $50,000 for the paving of Long Branch Drive, Arrowhead Court, Sequoia Drive, Seneca Court, and Moccasin Trail. In the city of Newcastle, $50,000 for the paving of various streets. And Honing Township, $50,000 for drainage and road. So from the liquid fuels account, $620,000 in allocations. Vanessa, what number would this be, please?
248.
248. May I have a motion for us to consider it?
Mr. Before I make the motion, I don't see Shenango Township on there. I thought Shenango Township was on that list as well. And then the question is the total here. Okay, I guess the total is correct, but wasn't Shenango on that list originally?
It's upstairs. I can go.
Yeah,
I don't know. Amy put the list together, but I can go up and grab the other list.
Would you mind?
It was on the list to be
I
approved as
believe it
well.
was, yes.
It's not on this resolution.
Yeah, let's.
I would rather correct the resolution too.
Yeah,
Sorry
thank you.
about that.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Sure.
Sorry, I just don't want to
No, we want
approve it if it's not what the list that we.
to be accurate. While we're waiting for Vanessa, I do want to make it clear that every municipality did receive, as I noted, both a letter and an email. But you'll note that not every municipality applied, but they were all given the opportunity to do so. And we do have a couple more that we're going to deal with as soon as Vanessa comes down. In fact, maybe I'll talk about them. Are you okay with?
Yeah.
We'll talk about the next two, and that way we'll have that discussion part of it. The next proposed resolution would be 249. This would utilize dollars from the local use account. And I guess we'll have to find out whether Shenango falls under this one or the prior one. But under this one, this would be for Pulaski Township, $47,259.92 for culvert repair throughout the township. And then Washington Township is asking for $26,108.77 for the paving of the following roads: Grimm, Jordan, Foster, Vossler, Carter, Lake, Black, and Nelson. And then proposed resolution 250. There is a Commonwealth fund or Commonwealth law which created Act 13. Act 13 is specific in that the dollars from Act 13 can only be used for bridges, and those bridges must be on the Commonwealth Transportation Improvement Program listing. The Township of Neshannock has submitted a bridge that would be eligible for the Act 13 dollars, and we would be able to allocate $50,000 to Neshannock Township for the culvert replacement project, bridge replacement project on Kingswood Drive.
It was total.
See, it doesn't match. Because this is what they
this is what they requested, and then this was the total project cost.
I have one in my office with the grant allowance.
Where is it? I'll go through it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, not to delay the meeting, if we inadvertently missed a,
What did they request?
give me just 1 second.
Sure, take your time.
13, 15. Yeah, originally we had talked about 16 requests and there's only 15 between the two resolutions, so.
We have enough, they were requesting almost 22,000, we have enough, but
But which account would we apply it to? Would it be for the,
probably with these ones, the liquid fuel.
with the liquid fuel?
Procedurally, there's no harm in waiting and add it to the August 15th agenda, is there? Or
Oh, no,
Joe, is there any?
I don't
No,
see it.
Yeah, we can do it
Okay,
separate.
if we missed any, Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we, thanks Vanessa, we'll have to double check this. I'll move for the adoption of, if you mind if we do all three together?
I
since
don't
they're
mind
all-
at all.
Resolutions 248, 249, 250, as you read. There may be one or more municipalities that we had discussed and the request, and it may not be on there. If so, I'd move that we, just suggest that we address that at our next public meeting 2 weeks from today.
I would second your motion. We believe that it's Shenango Township, so if anyone from Shenango Township is watching, please have our assurance that assuming that's the case, this will be addressed 2 weeks from today. We'll certainly take care of their request. I'm pretty certain that's who it is. And anyone else that we may have, but I think that was the one that's missing. Amy McKinney would normally be here. She's out of town this week, so otherwise we would have her here. But you've moved for all three resolutions, which we've talked about. We've entered into the record who has applied and what amounts they will receive. And again, we'll also enter into the record that in 2 weeks, we will address any outstanding requests that are not included in these. Call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. Brian, thank you, and thank you both. Vanessa, thank you for that.
Sorry for making you run upstairs.
That's okay.
Making her get her steps in today.
Well, our friends from CYS, you have, I believe, 6 proposed resolutions. Mr. Boughton, Mr. Grippo are here from Children and Youth Services. We always appreciate the supporting documentation that you give us. And John, generally what we've been doing is we go through them. You describe in brief what they are. And then usually we take one motion to cover, in this case, all 6 of the proposed resolutions, assuming we're in accord with them. John, before you start, are all 6 of them renewals, or are there some new ones mixed in?
No, sir, 5 of the 6 are renewals.
So if you could specify the new one, which I think I know which one it is, but we'll get to that. So John, thank you for joining us. Our listing has Bethany Christian Services of Western Pennsylvania, based in Allegheny County, as the first contract renewal. Would you like to talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes, Commissioner, this is a renewal for what we use currently as foster care. They are headquartered out of Allegheny County. Currently, we have 8 children served through Bethany Christian. Last year, we had a total of 14, and we would ask the board to consider renewing this contract.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burek, any questions?
The per diem rate has gone up, and if so, how much, or?
The per diem rate for this provider,
Because Mike's been keeping them pretty, either level or less than 4% increase, so.
0.
This is 0 on this one? Okay.
Yeah, first.
If we can keep the rates the same, that's a win.
I told Mike last week, when I buy my next car, he's coming with me to do the
Good negotiating.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Burek. The next proposed resolution, 252, is the Lutheran Service Society of Western Pennsylvania, based in Butler County. John?
Another renewal, Commissioner. Luther's increase from last year is 3%.
Mr. Burek, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. The next proposed resolution, 253, is Vocational Services Company, parentheses, Vocational and Psychological Services, and it's listed here as both Butler and Lawrence counties. I'm guessing they have offices in both. John, what can you tell us about this proposal?
So for vocational services, this is a renewal for in-home and evaluations, $1,370.33.
Mr. Burek, any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. Proposed resolution 254, coming out of Mercer County, George Junior Republic. John, if you can fill us in, please.
George Junior is a renewal for us. They provide group home residential services for males. This provider is asking for increases that range from 5% to some programs for special needs as high as 38%. I will say that when we evaluate the many contracts we have for foster programs and congregate care, it has not been unusual for the programs to come forward with these type of percentage increases. The one thing I will add for the board that would we consider, we do negotiate. We are one of the few counties in child welfare that negotiate our CYS and juvenile justice contracts. We just don't accept the rate sheet, and we look to negotiate based off of our budget. When a child is 4E eligible, 58% is federal funding, and the remaining 42% is a split between 80% state and 20% county. So at the end of the day, for a federally, for a 4E eligible child, the county's cost after reimbursement for these expenses falls somewhere between 7, 8, 9%.
Appreciate that explanation, and I'll see if Brian has any concerns or questions.
So just a question, if either you gentlemen could answer. At such a wide variety, variance between the per diem rates, are there, within George Junior Republic, are there like specialized units for different types of kids? That's why general population security is. And then that makes sense. The second question is, how many juveniles from Lawrence County are currently at George Junior Republic? And over the last year, how many did we average?
So last year, 1 CYS child, 1 JPO child. And this year, 1 CYS child and 0 JPO so far.
Thank you for that information.
Welcome.
And for the record, JPO is Juvenile Probation Office, if anybody wasn't sure what that stood for. You okay then, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Proposed resolution 255, Three Rivers Adoption Council based in Allegheny County. John?
This is a renewal foster care. The rate increase is 6% for this provider. But something I want to point out, this provider came to the negotiation asking for 40%. So they have different certifications, different units, different certs. So there are 4 programs. They came to the table asking for 40% increase, 39%, 37%, and 32%. And we were able to negotiate with them a 6% increase. And so again, Mr. Grippo, myself, our fiscal team and administration, program by program, and within the programs, certification by certification, with some of these programs having 7 or 8 certs. So you're easily talking over 100 negotiations. We've done our very best to be good fiscal managers and to be able to provide services that children need, while also being mindful of our budget and our duty to the citizens of Lawrence County and to our financial responsibility.
John, I'll see if Brian has any concerns.
Just again, commend you and your entire staff for the work you do and the diligence you apply to negotiate contracts to serve the children in need, but do it at the best price possible for Lawrence County. Thank you.
Welcome.
And then proposed resolution 256, Kids Peace National Centers, and I think you noted this is the one new contract. I would maybe ask just one very minor clarification. You have it listed as being in Lehigh County, and that may be true. I always thought Schnecksville was in Montgomery County, but I might be wrong.
No, what happened was when I didn't have the W-9 at the time.
Uh-huh.
So I went off a different address.
Oh, okay.
And then I got the W-9 and I did a new resolution with the proper, but I forgot to change the county.
So was I right? Is Schnecksville
Probably.
in Montgomery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I do get it right. Okay, that's fine. Very minor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, your knowledge of history and geography in the state of Pennsylvania is amazing. You don't give yourself enough credit, but you're very astute.
You're very kind and saying so. Thank you. So this is a new contract. John, if you want to fill us in, please.
Yes, this is a new contract, Commissioner. We were court ordered on July 29th to place a child at Kids Peace. Let me add that came about after 110, 115 either denials or no responses. And so we went program by program looking for someone to accept a child that we have custody of that had nowhere to go. And in the end of more than 100 programs, Kids Peace was the only program willing to accept for diagnostic purposes. So we know that the child that we're coming before the board for this contract in regards to, it will be at this program for 90 days. Whether longer than that will really be dependent upon findings from the diagnostic that is underway now. The price is $633 per day. And I did a breakdown. The state's cost after reimbursement is $506.84. The county's cost after reimbursement is $126.70. So the state will be picking up after reimbursement 80% of these costs. But I wanted to point out, we don't start far away. We start very close in county, and then we work ourselves out as we need to find. We've ended up 5 hours away from home only out of necessity of needing to find this child a place to go.
I appreciate all of that information. I want to commend you and your staff. And Commissioner Burek knows this. You had a very busy weekend on this issue. I know you and I were on the phone for a fair amount of time on Saturday morning. I think you were as well, and Commissioner Spielvogel. And then there was a lot of work out before and after that took a lot of your time, a lot of your staff's time. And we're very, very appreciative of everything you've done in this case. It's a very challenging situation, so thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Burek, any comments?
Maybe this is something for the solicitor, but the court order for the placement of this child at this facility, the way I recall reading it, it specifies Mr. Bout would sign on behalf of the county. Normally, our resolutions, it just says execute an agreement. Should it specify that John Bout is authorized to sign? Normally, the commissioners sign the agreement, or is that a moot point at this point? As long as somebody on behalf of the county signs it.
We generally sign all of them.
Right, but that's why I was thinking maybe should the resolution be specific to designate him on behalf of Lawrence County Children and Youth to sign the contract, or is that? I think if the commissioners sign it, it fulfills the intent of the court order. Are you satisfied if we
I'm
sign the
satisfied
contract?
with that.
Okay.
Would you feel better, because I think I would, if we add a fourth line, put Mr. Bout's name on it, then we have 4 signatures on it.
I agree. Procedurally, I think the commissioners should sign the contract, but to comply with the terms of the
Yes.
court order,
Yeah,
we'll add a signature line if that's okay with Mr. Bout.
and
Absolutely.
let's run it past the
The solicitor.
solicitor. I suspect he'll be.
It's a procedural thing, but I would just feel more comfortable that we comply with the letter of
With the county code, we're
the county
complying
code,
with the
but
code.
also with the court order.
Court order. I do agree.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I would add, just for the record on this, and to spotlight for the board, this particular provider wanted several changes to our standard contract template. So changes that I made to this contract pertain to clothing allotment, page 32, section 45, invoices, page 3, section 4A7, page 4, section 4C2, late payments, where if we are late, this provider charges an interest rate of 9%. That's to page 4, section 4C3. Arbitration, page 22, section 31. Governing, page 2, section 33. Transportation, page 30, 40. Termination, page 23, section 33. Indemnification, page 12, section 15. So before you, and what has been court ordered are changes to our standard template that no other provider has at this point other than Kidsby's.
Understood. It's a very unique situation. I assume you'll remember what he just said.
And I understand you have no choice. This is the only provider that will take this particular child that we're quartered to place or there. Here's my only question. The late payments. Normally, as we know, there's no state budget as of August 1. Even though Pennsylvania Constitution requires a new budget to have been in place by July 1, they're a month behind. And it's going to be a minimum, from what I hear from folks in Harrisburg, I talked to last night at another meeting, it's going to be a minimum 2 to 3 weeks minimum before the state budget's passed. My question is, does this contract still contain language that if the state budget is not in place and the county's not getting reimbursement for children's youth services, then the vendor knows that the payments could be delayed? Or are we on the hook for that 9% interest regardless of whether the state budget's in place or not? That's something that I think we should, obviously I'm gonna vote for this contract because need to do it for the child's benefit and this court order, but we need to follow up on that and make sure that we're not gonna get stuck paying a large amount of interest through no fault of the counties, only because there's no state budget in place. So just, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to share that comment for the record.
Very valid. Maybe you can check into that.
I'll do that. Commissioner, as a sports fan, I would say I would need 2 fourth downs. Part of me wants to go forward and tell you that the stipulation is in there still, that if there is no budget, then the county has an opportunity to reduce payment. With that said, I also want to punt and give it to the county solicitor because both stipulations are in there within the contract and they're both within the payment section, the compensation section of the contract. So in one line item, right above, it says that we can reduce payment. In a few other line items down that section is this requirement of this provider to talk about 9% interest. So I would defer to the county solicitor and a punt.
As long as you don't fumble.
Good analogy, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna vote for the resolution with the stip, but before we sign it, I want the solicitor to review the section that he referred
I'm
to.
fine with that.
So if
Would you then be willing, assuming there's no other comments or concerns, would you be willing to make a motion for us to consider resolutions 251 up through and including 256?
I so move.
I will second. Any other concerns, Brian? Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I have a quick procedural question for you. I believe at 1 o'clock, we're supposed to be doing a vehicle title transfer.
Yes,
Are you or somebody from your staff coming down?
I will be there.
Okay. Please start without me.
Okay.
Because I think the buyer is under a time constraint of some sort. We were doing this at like 1:30.
Yes.
We pushed it back to 1 o'clock. I'll do my level best to be there at 1. But just if you get the ball rolling, all I got to do is sign a couple things. Please start without me in case I'm late.
And we prepared the buyer for what we needed to bring to, for the title.
Okay. And you know where we're meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mike, always a pleasure.
All right. Yep,
Thank you,
thanks.
gentlemen. You're welcome to stay, but you have to move along. We understand. Take care. Next on the agenda.
Excuse me, John, working tomorrow?
Yes.
All right, I'll be in touch with you later today about maybe setting up. Administratively, there's something I want to go over with you tomorrow morning, please.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly. If I'm counting correctly, we have 12 proposed resolutions from the Mental Health and Developmental Services Office. With us is Scott Baldwin, the director. And Scott, we always enjoy you here. Would you'd be kind enough to walk us through these and indicate if any of them happen to be new contracts.
These are all renewals, and these are our early intervention contracts. These are a little different. If it's okay with the commissioners, historically, we presented these as one and listed the individual providers, if that's okay to proceed as.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all renewal contracts.
Starting with number 257, and I'm listed here as Lawrence County ARC base. Okay.
So these are all these contracts are for our early intervention population. These are from birth to 3 years of age. And these are entitlement programs, whereas they are paid. There is no eligibility, or there's no budget to work under. So whether we have 2 kids or we have 100, these kids are all served. And this is services for speech assistance and vision testing and anything a child is born with that has a developmental disability. These services they're entitled to receive. So there's no dollar amounts attached to any of these programs. So it's different than our block grant budget. So there was a no rejection policy. So if it's okay for you, do you want me to go through the list of providers?
How about if we do this out of respect for everybody's schedule? I'll enter them into question, or if I have a question, we'll stop. And then if you, as we do each one, if you have anything you need to add over and above what's in here, please do so. So how about, are you okay with doing it that way?
Yes.
All righty.
And there's no cost to the county. I said it's not part of our block grant. These are all reimbursed through state and federal funds. So
But obviously procedurally and
Sure.
from a technical standpoint, we got to go through the process,
absolutely.
running it through a public meeting. So number 257 would be Lawrence County ARC base. Once again, if either of you need to stop me, stop me. Number 258, Community Care Connections base. Excuse me. Number 259, Life Steps base. Number 260, Pediatric Therapy Professionals base. Individual who serves in a professional capacity with whom we contract.
Physical therapy, speech pathology, hearing assistance, that's what they do.
Very good. Thank you. Brian, anything on this one?
No.
Okay, thank you. 262, George Mike Ute base, probably a similar set of circumstances.
Exactly.
Thank you. Number 263, the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf. Number 264, the Human Services Center here in Lawrence County base. Number 265, Global Wordsmiths. I guess, I just for my own
Interpreting services.
curiosity, I'm sorry.
Hearing interpreting services.
Okay, thank you. Number 266, Adam Brooks base, again, a professional provider. Physical therapist, thank you. Achieva, number 267, Achieva base. And number 268, Rehab Links base. We've entered those into the record. Commissioner Burek, do you have questions of Mr. Baldwin?
I do not, and I move that we approve resolutions 2023-257 up to and including resolution 2023-268.
I will second your motion. Scott, anything we've perhaps forgotten?
That was a wonderful job. That's a lot to go through with that.
Sorry we made you sit here for.
Oh, no, very good.
15
Nice to
minutes.
see you in this presentation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, it's been moved and seconded. We okay, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, good. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. As always, you're welcome to stay. If you have to move along, we understand.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Scott. Appreciate all you do. We have a couple of proposed transfers. The first would be proposed resolution 269. What we're looking at here is a transfer of $8,456 from the commissioner's contingency. This will be for utility invoices that we anticipate through the end of the year at Judge Russo's office in Neshannock Township, including gas, electric, some for maintenance, and some for materials and supplies. Is there a motion for this proposed resolution?
So moved.
I will second, and I'll see if you have any questions.
Both the controller and the solicitor said we're obligated to pay these costs of this lease, and therefore this transfer is necessary to pay the lease costs.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. No other comments. I'll ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you. The next proposed resolution, number 270. This is a proposed transfer of $14,000 from the Commissioner's contingency to the jail, specifically materials and supplies line item. As has been noted at some of our meetings, we are currently housing juveniles, and help me, there's a certain name used for.
Interest of justice.
Thank you. And that's what I was looking at. These are juveniles that have been charged as adults. And we've made arrangements in one of our area of cell blocks that's currently not being utilized to house these individuals from other counties who don't have sufficient space. One of the requirements that the state has is the areas in which they are being housed need to have a specific type of a fence along the balcony inside the jail. And in order for us to comply, this would require an expenditure of approximately $14,000, which is why we're looking at this transfer. Did I miss anything, either of you gentlemen?
No, that was perfect.
Okay, thanks for the interest of justice reminder. I'd forgotten about that.
I'll move for the approval of that transfer, resolution 270.
Thank you, sir. I will second and see if you have any other concerns, Brian.
It was a required step. I think it'll be better for the safety of the staff and the inmates.
I agree and remind everyone that each county with whom we have contracted, I believe the going rate that we receive is it $800 a day? Okay, so we are getting revenue as a result of us housing these individuals. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes?
motion carries.
Thank you. The next final transfer request, number 271, is from the Juvenile Probation Office. They are looking for a $2,450 transfer from the Commissioner's contingency into their overtime line item. This was to pay staff overtime while holding a child recently over the weekend as per a court order. The motion would be in order, please.
So moved.
I'll second. I guess I have a quick question. I'm going to vote for this, obviously, but do we know, perhaps, were there not enough funds in the JPO contingency to cover this?
That's
That's your
correct.
understanding?
It was extremely tight,
I see.
and with still this much of the year left, it was just, it was requested that we look at moving the money from our contingency.
Okay, I appreciate that. That did trigger a thought in my mind. I did recently ask the county controller to review the overall budget of the county. Since we, at the end of June, we were halfway through the year, and I just asked if there were any red flags, any department or office where the expenditures were way out of line or revenue was way down. He got back to me with a very simple answer. He didn't find any areas of concern. And I think you all know, I think we all have a great deal of respect for our controller. He is a CPA. He's very efficient, and I was pleased to hear his response. So anyhow, this is resolution 271. I believe it's been moved and seconded. And I'll add, Brian, anything else on your end?
I just want to note for the record that there are times, even though the commissioners are supposed to be good stewards of the dollars entrusted to the county government, there's times like this where we have to comply with the terms of a court order. We have no choice. JPO and children and youth, if there's an incident on the weekend with a child and staff have to stay with the child, we do sometimes incur costs that we could not anticipate or foresee or budget. So we don't like it, but we have no choice but to comply with the court order. So some expenditures are beyond our control, is what I would note.
True. Thank you for noting that. I'll ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you so much. I believe that takes care of voting matters. We do have a resolution on the table, but I believe we'll keep it there for the time being. Thank you. Under announcements, we noted that next Tuesday there will not be a commissioners meeting because we will be in Erie County attending our conference. Today at noon, the Lawrence County Opioid Advisory Committee will meet in this room. It's open to the public. Next, 2 weeks from today, August 15, the quarterly meeting of the Retirement Board, the County Retirement Board, which consists of the 3 commissioners, county controller, and the county treasurer, as per state law. We will convene in this room. It's open to the public, and that meeting will take place immediately following the commissioners' meeting that day. As noted earlier, the Planning Commission meets a week from tomorrow, August 9. And do you want to comment, Mr. Burek?
Mr. Chairman, can I make one additional announcement? Just want to remind the citizens of Lawrence County that the Lawrence County Fair Board asked us to give out this reminder that the Lawrence County's annual fair out on Harlansburg Road, State Route 108 in Hickory Township,
And a little bit of Scott.
and a little bit of around the border with Scott Township. The annual Lawrence County Fair is coming up opens on Monday, August 14th. It runs through Saturday, August 19th. And I'm sure most of us have fond memories of going to the fair, and we still enjoy. My wife makes me take her every year and get the hot apple dumplings among the many treats that they have at the county fair. But so many people are agricultural community. I have had cousins who displayed their horses and 4-H barn and some of their cows, and many people we strolled on memory lane for just 10 seconds here. When I was a boy, my mom always thought made the best pumpkin pie. So we talked her one year into entering her pumpkin pies in the Lawrence County Fair baking contest, and she won a blue ribbon for the best pumpkin pie in Lawrence County. So, but just encourage people to participate however they can and attend and enjoy the Lawrence County Fair.
Does she still have the ribbon?
Probably somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. That'd be a real nice keepsake. No, it's a big event. We hope for dry weather. You've probably been there some years. It's a sea of mud, and other years they have delightful weather. So we hope for the latter.
I was there one year, and like many people, we parked in the field, and when we went to leave, there was our car and about 100 other cars were stuck in the mud in the field next to the fair. So,
Well, we wish
go
them.
for a dry week.
We certainly, we wish them. Yeah, someone pointed out to me once where the township line runs between Hickory and Scott. It goes through one of the buildings, curiously. But yeah, most of it's in Hickory Township. So, well, thank you for noting that, Brian. We always have public comment. We want to welcome our banker friends. We always appreciate your being here. All that West Banco does for us. Public comment?
Just miss traveling. You guys need to start it again.
I know.
It was good to see the county that way.
I know. Maybe that's something with the new board, whoever that new board might be, we or they can take a look at doing. So, thank you. Mr. Baker, anything else, sir?
No, other than I have a lot of these sheets that have the symbolism of that flag that I presented earlier outlined. I can leave a stack here at the courthouse. So if anybody wants to grab a sheet, feel free.
Will do.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you got to talk with Debbie a little bit. We do appreciate your joining us, and again, appreciate all the effort you've put into this. Appreciate your willingness to help with the committee that's going to be looking at commemoration next year. So, thanks for your involvement and all that you did.
It's no trouble.
Sir, we're doing public comment.
I have
Anything else in the banking world?
Everything's good.
Oh, that's great. Good to hear. We appreciate your joining us. Sorry for the long meeting.
A lot of information.
I know, but boy, my predecessor did a much better job in terms of getting it done more quickly. So I give him credit. He knew how to run a quick meeting and efficient. So I apologize that it went as long as it did, but we had a lot to cover. Mr. Burek, any final comments?
No, I'll move for adjournment.
I will, before I second your motion, Joe or Vanessa, anything?
No.
No, thank you both. I'll second your motion. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye, opposed, the same sign. The motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Oh, Joe's got to turn. Yeah.
He's got to turn the video off. Hey, what's your schedule on Friday now? I gotta